Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Ghostbusters the video game. This will be the final video. I actually had to take down the previous extras video I had up because Sony Music made a claim against the video, which basically, it's not one of the 3 strikes you're out claim. It was one of the ones where they monetize it and put ads on there. And as a general rule, when that happens, it will take the video down, or if it's a bogus claim, I'll counterclaim. I've had that happen several times. Basically, I just don't like to futz around with that. If it's a legitimate claim, I'll take the video down because, you know, I don't really want to lose my long video privileges. And I'll do like I'm doing now, and I'll actually post a video with absolutely no music. So, I do apologize if you hear a little bit of static from my microphone. Usually that's masked by the music. That is an unfortunate side effect of recording from stereo mix. It's just noise on the line. I can't really get rid of it. So, let's talk a little bit about Ghostbusters while we look at art. Let me see if I can't actually use my keyboard to cycle through this. Let's see, go back to Hotel Sedgwick. Oh, I can. That's awesome. Woo! Ah! Anyway, I'm not going to actually zoom in on most of these. I do want to point out this guy. This guy right here, this is one of my favorite, I guess, kind of concept arts for the game, because this right here really, I think, it captures the logical, to me, and this is my personal opinion, this right here is the logical adult extension of the ghost design from the real Ghostbusters. Because, you know, you go back nowadays and you watch the stuff from back then, you know, the real Ghostbusters cartoons, you look at the toys, the art on the boxes and stuff like that, and those were some pretty funky and scary ghosts. I mean, they really were. And like I said, this right here is, to me, the logical adult extension of that art design. And I love it. And I think they did a wonderful job on the ghost design in this game. Now, let's talk about the game itself while we look through some art. I'm probably not gonna get through all of the art. A lot of it is really redundant, and there's nothing like super interesting, especially in the later arts and stuff like that. So if I don't get through it all, well, I apologize. I'm basically going to go until I'm done talking about the game. So anyway, Ghostbusters the video game, I'd give it about a 7 out of 10. It's definitely above average. Now, I'm one of those people that think, okay, 50 is the average. 70 is not an average. 70 is above average. A 7 out of 10 is above average. It's a really solid shooter. It's got good, solid shooting mechanics. All of the weapons are interesting enough that they remain unique, but at the same time they're familiar enough to where you can, you know, jump in. The proton stream, your basic weapon, is fairly straightforward. We all know how it works from the movies, but at the same time they add things like the boson darts, which, you know, rocket launcher, boom, shock blast, shotgun, meson collider, machine gun. It's like, oh, this I've done this before. But at the same time, they do stuff interestingly enough. You know, there's extra interesting weapons. You know, you have the stasis stream, you have the slime tethers, you have the painting ability of the meson collider. You know, to mix things up where it's not just your basic everyday shooter weapons reskinned for Ghostbusters. So, yeah, I mean, at the time, I guess, you know, they pretty much used your standard. At the time, I think Gears of War 2 had came out when this game actually hit the market. So this game actually uses pretty. I do like this. Fingers. This game uses pretty, minus the cover, it's pretty much Gears of War. It's Gears of Ghostbusters minus the cover. So it's slightly dumbed down compared to other shooters, but it's a superb third-person shooter. It's got a wonderful humor. The plot is a little hokey, but hey, it's about people who, it's about exterminators who fight ghosts. So you can kind of forgive it. The graphics, I think, are okay. They're not as spectacular as one would expect. And then, of course, just look at those cars down there. I mean, it's all the same car over and over and over and over again. And you notice little things like that, and stuff. Although I did like the fact that you could actually write your name in the wall with the proton packs. I thought that was pretty neat, and the burn marks looked and stuff pretty good. Lots of destructible things in the environment. The Ghostbusters themselves look a little weird, though. Sometimes they're it's the same effect, really, that I had. It's the same problem I had when I went and saw Captain America. It's this problem I have where you take somebody else's head and face and kind of superimpose it on a body that's not theirs. It doesn't necessarily fit. You can kind of make it fit some of the time, but every once in a while you get this point where you go, that head doesn't really match their body type. For example, the body, all the Ghostbusters actually have the same body, just different heads on the body. And it's really noticeable when you look at Ray because, well, that's not Ray's body. I mean, they fix it, I think, a little bit in the cutscenes and stuff, but really the body they used didn't match pretty much any of the Ghostbusters body types, with the exception of maybe Egon. You can get away with it for the recruit because, well, he doesn't have a set body type, but it's too lanky for Winston, too tall for Ray, and then you got Peter. Peter's just has always been kind of halfway between Winston and Ray in terms of body types. He's slightly bigger than it just doesn't fit. It doesn't look. It's not the same body type, and it's noticeable. And then you got the like I said, for Captain America, sometimes you could see where the head wasn't quite the right size for the body, and they did a pretty good job in both Captain America and this game of trying to make it fit, but at the same time, it is noticeable, and it does bother me. But what can you do? There are limitations in the softwares and stuff that we have. Now, I actually might be missing some art because there was one ghost that I actually missed I didn't scan, and my dog is in the other room. He's growling, so if you can hear him, just maybe he'll shut up. No, he's growling in his sleep. Never mind, I can see him. He's asleep, and over there just if you've ever seen a dog do that, he'll actually bark in his sleep. So if you hear him yap, he's asleep right now. It's pretty funny when he does that. Here's one of the ghost books. So gameplay in this game is very solid. I am kind of sad I didn't get to show you the multiplayer. It was a very fun little competitive game. I think they could have added the whole split screen multiplayer. Not make it something that's always there. I mean, they could have done that. Obviously, add in the second female recruit like they were originally going to do, and then that they did in the Wii version. They also could have just added, drop in, drop out multiplayer. When you have another Ghostbuster with you, you know, let somebody take control of them. Split the screen. It's not really that big of a leap, I don't think. We've just unfortunately gotten away from, local multiplayer. Everybody seems to think that nobody has friends that come over to their house anymore. But what can you do? Another thing they could have added for the multiplayer, other than the fact that for the PC version they could have just, added the multiplayer, was that they could have, I think, done missions, if you get what I'm saying. Where it's like, okay, like whole, like, kind of campaign levels. Something that might... kind of like a modified level, you go through this whole level, and at the end of the level you fight a boss, and you have random boss ghosts and stuff, and like, I'm talking like not necessarily what they had, but like a whole level, kind of like playing a custom campaign on Warcraft 3, if you've ever done that. I'm not being very clear here, but what I'm saying is more multiplayer options. Like I said, the multiplayer was fun for this game, but it ultimately was a very weird competition. So, yeah. So, let's see, what else is there to talk about this game? Music was fairly good. I mean, it was pretty much just recycled from all the old Ghostbusters films. There was lots of places that didn't have music in it at all. I will say this about the voices. All the voice actors did a really good job, with the exception of maybe Alyssa Milano. She was kind of annoying in this game. She didn't really fit. Okay, that's kind of unfair. What I'm saying is she didn't fit with the other voice talent in this game. She sounded like basically she sounded like an 8-year-old intruding on the conversations of adults. I'm not saying that she's not an adult. I'm just saying that she didn't really... Anyway, she didn't match the character really well. The Ghostbusters all give really good performances. Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and I keep wanting to call him Ernie Zedmore, but no, Ernie Hudson. They all did spectacular jobs in this game. Like, they gave 110%. You can really tell that they were into their old grooves when they gave their lines and stuff. You could tell that they aged a little bit, from their voices. But honestly, they specifically Aykroyd. Aykroyd sounds the most different, I think, with probably Ernie Hudson sounding the most the same as he did back in the day. I will say that I dissed Bill Murray and his performance throughout the entire thing, but having played the game again, with it being fresh in my mind, with these complaints fresh in my mind, to kind of look at it as I go along, I will say that Bill Murray did not phone it in as much as I claimed he did. There was a few spots where, he was very, very lackluster, but overall, he did way better than I remember him doing, which really surprised me. It's kind of funny how your memory doesn't actually match up to the apparent truth. But he obviously did not do as good a job as the other Ghostbusters. So, but like I said, not nearly as bad as I thought. So, overall, I like I said, for purely gameplay purposes, I give the game a 7. It's a definitely above average shooter, very well polished and everything like that. You have to subtract points for certain things, and then you add points for it being a Ghostbusters game, and then you subtract points for the fact that for the PC version there's no multiplayer, and even on the console versions the multiplayer I think is way more limited than it needed to be. Basically the multiplayer, if you've never played it, it's like I said, it's just kind of a it's basically mini games. They could have done so much more with it. And the fact that there's no drop in, drop out multiplayer for the console versions. I can understand it on the PC version. But once again, why no online multiplayer? It's the same problem. Excellent voice acting and sounds, excellent ghost design, I think. The ghosts were very, very unique. And honestly, the bosses were kind of boring in terms of their design. You had the big scary bosses, the collector, the architect, and that's pretty much it. The slore, the juvenile slore. They were kind of boring looking, but you get to the individual ghosts that you fight. The construction worker ghosts, the Viking, female Viking fat ladies, the chef ghosts and his little chef helpers. They're really awesome. Pappy Sargassi. You see all kinds of trying to think of the right word here. Personality. You see all kinds of personality in these ghosts, and it really shines through, and it's wonderful. And I have not been going through the art. I apologize. So that's actually pretty much all I wanted to say about Ghostbusters. I really hope they make another game that's not Sanctum of Slime. Sanctum of Slime if you've never played it, it's a twin stick shooter, which is all right, I guess. But Ghostbusters is an intellectual property that you can do so much for. Like personally, my ideal Ghostbusters game would be something that they hint at in the finale of this game, when the credits are rolling, that offer the recruit franchise rights for another big city. That would be awesome. If you think about it, you go into a city, it could be, LA, whatever. Doesn't matter. It's just, you go to a big city like LA or Chicago, or it can't be New York, but I think Chicago would be pretty cool because you never see Chicago. If a game takes place in a real city, it's either New York or LA. It's never anywhere else. Dallas, Shreveport, Louisiana is a pretty big city. Dallas, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, stuff like that. Chicago, Seattle, just all these other, it doesn't matter where it takes place. But a big city, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but it takes place in a big city. You go in, you start with X amount of money. They give you your own, not necessarily a firehouse, but doesn't have to be a firehouse. Although a firehouse would be really cool because, firehouse, Ghostbusters, the firehouse evokes Ghostbusters to me. But, they give you your building. And then you have X amount of money and you have to buy a car. You have to hire people. And it'd be kind of like a kind of a mix of that old Ghostbusters game where you actually did have to buy a car. You could have a little VW Ghostbusters car. So you have a Ghostbusters car, and you have to buy. You have to hire recruits. You have to order equipment from Stanton Spengler in New York and have it shipped. Things like that. You can put money back into R&D. And then you run it, and then you have this game. And I'm still not going through the art. I apologize. You run it, and like when you're hiring Ghostbusters, you can only hire so many. But think of it as kind of like if you've ever played Valkyrie Chronicles. I'm mixing games there, so just there is no game called Valkyrie Profile. It's Valkyrie Profile and Valkyrie Chronicles. If you've ever played Valkyrie Chronicles, you'll know that when you're making your squad, you only get so many. But you have this huge list of people, and each person has their unique personality. They have unique lines. They have not necessarily unique voice actor, because, honestly, if you boil down to it, the same 5 people voice everything. In video games, just in anime, they voice everything. But, they have unique voice lines, unique powers. They have different classes and stuff like this. This guy is an assault. He uses an assault rifle. This guy uses a bolt action rifle. This guy's a sniper. This guy has allergies, so when he's in open fields with lots of grass, he sneezes and his accuracy goes down. This guy, does this. This guy does this. Something like that. And I'm talking on and on too long, so I'm going to go ahead and just say that, to me, an ideal Ghostbusters game is something that's not going to happen. And it makes me sad. I do want to show you one picture before I go. They have over here in the Return to Hotel Sedgwick. Let's see, you can actually see in this art that they may have went a really different direction with this level. Those are not spiderwebs. That right there, that is body horror. That is terrifying. Another terrifying thing is the Spider Witch. Let's see, how do you zoom in? Zoom 0? Let's try that again. Damn it, zoom in. There we go. Damn it. Zoom in. Okay, yeah, you can see she has that line there. You can't really see it when you're playing the game, but that right there, that is terrifying. I don't care who you are, that is terrifying. If you were having a date with a woman and her mouth opened like that, you would piss yourself, and then she would eat you. My name is Treble. This has been Ghostbusters, the video game, and I hope you enjoyed the LP. And so stay tuned for whatever the hell I do next. And I'm not going to go into too many details because I don't know when you're watching this. So anyway, I'll see you later.